Dunster by John Mortimer. Read by David Threlfall. I worry a good deal. That's my nature. Sometimes I tell myself that I have nothing to worry about, and then I worry about that too. At very rare moments when I'm not actively worrying about Natasha, my daughter, or the overdraft, or the VAT man, or the next board meeting, or whether I'll get the part of Trigorin in the Mummer's production of The Seagull, or whether, if I did get it, I'd make a proper cock-up of it and get a filthy notice in the Muswell Hill Advertiser, or the strange hysterical whining noise, much like an elderly person in pain, that the Volvo is making when I decelerate. On the rare occasions when I'm worrying about none of these things, I start to worry about global warming or the future of the Russian economy. And then I take a poor view of myself because global warming and Russia are things I can do absolutely nothing about. So I lose patience with myself for wasting time worrying about them, and that makes me extremely worried. I started early that morning because I was going to drop my daughter Natasha at her tutorial college in Highgate on my way to the offices of Megapolis Television on the Isle of Dogs. I parked the Volvo in the space with my name on it, a privilege I had enjoyed ever since I became personal accountant, working directly to the chairman, Sir Crispin Bellhanger, KCB, DSO, MC, and so on. Working for Chris was one of the pluses, together with a somewhat remote association with the performing arts, of life at Megapolis Telly. Waiting for Tash and taking her to college had made me almost half an hour late, and I'd have to hurry to get everything ready for the board meeting.
If I could waste a minute or two of the board's valuable time to make an interjection which I'm sure you will all find laughably inept.
Sidney Polliter, head of the firm of city accountants Polliter, Michelson and Spratling, was giving his usual amateurish performance of humility. He was the most endlessly vocal member of the board. Often his lengthy apologetic protests were about Megapolis programs which he had found alarmingly erotic. That day, however, it was not sex that was uppermost in the Polliter mind. It was war. After another endless apology for wasting the time of the board on a trifling matter which we might well, with our superior knowledge of the technicalities of programming and audience research, dismiss as of quite exaggerated importance, he suddenly said, "Isn't it the duty of us all not to do anything to undermine the morale of our young men as they go into battle in a distant land? I merely ask the question, Chairman, so that you may shoot me down." "I don't want to shoot you down, Sidney. I've seen quite enough shooting down to last a lifetime."
"I'm sure you have, Chairman. We all know your war record is impeccable."
"I don't really think a war record," Chris was smiling with more than his usual charm, "is a thing for anyone to be proud of exactly."
"You say that, Chairman, of course. We all hear you say it, and we have the greatest respect for your modesty. But if I may just waste a further moment of your time, I am anxious, and you will no doubt tell me that I am unnecessarily anxious, that an intended programme suggesting that our own record in time of war may not have been, let us say, beyond criticism, is not the sort of thing we should allow to creep into the schedules at this particular moment in our island story. I mean, of course, war crimes." Gary Penrose, for the management, did his best to explain the situation. "War crimes. We're commissioning it from Streetwise. We see it as a late-night show, around 11 o'clock, certainly when the kids have been put down for the night." "It's quite in the future, as I understand it," Chris said. "This war, if there is a war, will no doubt be over. Now, if we could move on to the financial report, Philip." I started to go through the figures which I knew by heart, and the board members of Megapolis did their best to look as if they understood them. Up till then, the meeting had followed its usual pattern, a boring formality in the work of the company. The hint of troubles to come, the cloud no larger than a man's hand, appeared when Chris asked me to stay behind for a moment. "Sid Vicious," he said, "was especially unbearable this morning." I was surprised that...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?